May the 4th be with you. Wade Willis here to break down the newest episode of Fruits Basket, the final season, episode 5. I predicted that it would either be Haru or Rin that would actually have their ties broken. I saw that Haru's string was starting to get frayed. I was like, okay, it's only a matter of time. I did not think I would be proven wrong the very next episode, but that's what happened here. And guys, I'm going to break down some things that I thought were really important or stuck out to me in this episode and bring up some thoughts that arose from this episode. And everyone, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys subscribe to my channel. Getting pretty close to my goal. And yeah, guys, I already mentioned how I was proven wrong about who was going to have the curse broken next. Honestly, Momiji was probably one of my last picks of who would be next. I did not expect it at all. And we also saw one of the fastest glow ups I've ever seen in my life with Momiji. He's like grown a foot at least. Looking a lot older, still wearing the bunny backpack though, which is pretty cute. And it has like his same like overall personality. Him and Toru were like holding their hands, holding hands like he's still that little kid that she sees, but it looks like to other people who didn't know that they could be boyfriend and girlfriend. But so yeah, they obviously with the tie being broken with Momiji, we focus a lot on him and really it being broken in the episode. The way it happened was like really surprising to me. I did not expect it, and the way he handled it was a bit different than I expected because he is such like a very caring person. Um, Especially initially, he was way colder to Akito than I expected. And he wasn't even being mean, but he was just like, "Hey, you need to go back. I need to think about this stuff." We saw how, I mean, she really looked pitiful in that, seeing that his tie was broken. He doesn't realize like how it was broken. Um, and the rest of the episode, every scene with him is him kind of thinking about his life, his ties, the effect the curse had on him, and what his life's going to be now that the curse is broken. And even though the episode focuses a ton on Momiji, and I'm going to get back into him in a second, it really does have a lot of really important moments with Shigure. In particular, right before the tie is broken with Momiji, Akito is having like kind of an argument with Shigure. Did this lead to it being broken? I don't know. And guys, I'm not a manga reader, so I'm every episode I have no idea what's going to happen next. So don't spoil it if you're a manga reader. The timing of that is kind of interesting. He seems more knowledgeable in a lot of this stuff than he's leading on to as well. Multiple people kind of like start like digging into Shigure about how he's kind of being a dick and to Akito and not treating her nicely, and he kind of saying that's like not who he is. He's not just a nice person that can go out and be nice. For someone who's so like wishy-washy on things, he is very manipulative, but he's very in touch with himself. At least that's how it seems. And like I said, his flaws, which makes sense since he is the writer. And I feel like to be a good writer, you need to be really perceptive on like what makes people different, what makes people tick, probably his inner demons, and all of that actually helps him probably become a better writer. That's just me though. Someone commented on my reaction video that Shigure is like, he sees all these people around them like growing and developing and really becoming stronger and better people, and he wants that for Akito, so he's kind of like pushing her, that's honestly how I see it too. So I thought that was a really interesting comment that I agreed with. And he does want Akito for himself, so some of his motives, like I think part of him does want what's the best for Akito, and her living this like weird deity life where everyone has to be like walking on eggshells around her and uh, like cowering in her presence really is not the best for anyone. But I feel like he does also want these ties broken because these ties are preventing him from actually being with her 100%. So some of it is I do think out of his love for her, but then I do think some of it is selfishness, and he does want these ties to be broken because that'll only leave him. Some of the things he does I don't agree with, but his kind of tough love approach, at least with how I'm seeing it now, is probably one of the better um, tactics that people have used on Akito, because the coddling and the constant like, oh, why would you do that, Akito, like it's just, it's too soft and really putting Akito in like a bubble protecting her from anything, and you're not like really, even if you're telling her that she's wrong, you don't actually like punish her for it or make her regret her decisions. I mean, Shigure will just like leave her, which probably bothers her more than if like someone probably hit her, in my opinion. I don't know though. But I think him not cowering to her and leaving on his own, like she does need a dose of that. She needs to know if she does things, there are going to be consequences. Like, you cannot grow as a person if there's no consequences to your actions. You also have like her mother, who was actually mentally like abusive and caused serious trauma to her, done things no mother should do. And I don't know if she has been physically abusive. We haven't seen the full extent of the trauma, but like I've seen enough to know it's not right what her mom has done. So that like the combination of the coddling and the like mental abuse by her mother, it is not good for someone's psyche to like grow and develop, because she kind of like will isolate herself and be in a depression, possibly from the trauma from her mother, and then gets kind of a holier than thou type of thing and rules like a tyrant, which is because she's being coddled and not actually being reprimanded for things that she does. So those two things have created who Akito is today. Maybe there's other factors I don't know about as well. And the fact that she is technically a god that has these ties over people too, I mean, it's gonna make you a bit unstable and like not a good person to be around. So again, that was a lot for me to say. Like, I think Shigure's approach is probably the best approach to somehow get Akito to develop. I thought it was interesting too when Shigure was having like a conversation with Toru, and he's kind of like talking to himself a bit, and he's like, man, I wish I could have like, what if I fell in love with someone like you? In my opinion, he like, one, he knows that wasn't ever going to happen because he fell in love with Akito before Akito was even born. The way he kind of thinks that he's not actually a good person and stuff, I think he realizes that Toru is just like too good and pure for someone like him, um, which, in my opinion, is true. And like, it's been kind of obvious that Momiji's been like in love with Toru since the beginning. An interesting thing that came about him having his tie broken, which I did not expect him having, is that he it upsets him in the way like, I'm in love with Toru. This is like something that like really was a barrier for us being together, but it doesn't matter. She's in love with Kyo, and Kyo having his curse broken would have made her a lot happier. Now, she loves Momiji not in a romantic way like she loves Kyo, but I don't think, just how pure Toru is, I think her finding out that Momiji's curse was broken would give her as much joy as if Kyo's was broken. Um, in different ways, but just she's such a good person. I don't think that she would be like disappointed, like, oh, I wish it was Kyo. And he even like kind of has like a heart to heart with Kyo to a certain extent. And to me, I took it as him saying, like, yo, Toru's in love with you. Like, you need to go for it. If you keep waiting, someone else is gonna get get her because she is a catch. She's an amazing person. And hopefully this beats it into Kyo's head to like make a move. The other thing with Momiji that I thought was like incredibly interesting is how he was looking at the curse being broken. Like, yes, the curse was horrible. Because of the curse, his like mother tried to kill herself, just super depressing. And also because of the curse, he had these ties with like all these people that were his other like now other family. And the curse being broken kind of loses his connection to those people. Now, it seemed like all of them kind of felt something was different in him. The family that he does have with that close knit group of you mean the kids in high school in particular. Um, I could see them be a family even if and close, even if all their curses were broken. But he was like reflecting on that. I thought that was really interesting way to look at it. It was also so sad when he's like talking to his mom who doesn't know that she's his mom, and the thing that was preventing them from being a family is broken now, but he can't go back to it. That's such a heartbreaking situation, and he kind of comes to the realization like, okay, I'm gonna like go on a trip with my own family and down the line, and he's like coming to grips with the situation that he's in. And even though it was heartbreaking for him to like process all of that, I feel like he is in a better place, and I really did like that for him. It seems like he's moving on, probably won't all the way, but amazing at the same time seeing him process all that. That was very mature in my opinion, all the things that he was mentally going through. And I think it's interesting, kind of like the um, conundrum that the people are in, like Momiji's like family was broken because of the curse. Now that the curse is broken, he can't go back to the family though, so he just has to go on without the curse, and he has a new family um, because of the curse. But now that tie has been broken. And then if you compare like Kureno, he was a bird. He could fly. Really, technically, we think there's nothing more free than being able to fly and be up in the sky and all of that stuff. Even though he did have the curse. Well, then the curse was broken, and his guilt has led him to be almost less free. He can't fly. He lost that ability, and now because of his guilt, he feels like he has to constantly watch Akito. Uh, and yeah, I just think both of those, the writing it's just so interesting. Um, how those two situations, they're different, but they both have their own like weird contradictions where like you think your life would be better, but it technically isn't. Which technically that's how life is a lot of the times. You think something happens and you think it'll make your life better, and then you realize that there's other issues that come along with it. And then something else I noticed, it looks like the Zodiacs, once the tie's broken, it's not like they're reborn into someone else and then Akito has the ties again. So this leads me to think about a few things. One, once they're broken, are the Zodiacs what are like providing the god life? Will the god die? I could see like a lot of negative things happening with Akito's mental state once all of them are broken. And then that also made me think like, so if they don't come back, like does that mean no Zodiac has ever broken the tie to God over time? So that means all of a sudden we've had two with one God in a matter of years. It's kind of crazy to think. And like, why is it happening now? Is it just specifically with Akito? Is it just that where the tie's getting weaker and weaker over time, and now, I mean, they're just snapping? I don't know. I'm excited to see what the reasoning is and why it's happening and what the future is for all the Zodiacs and Akito. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on the episode. Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, have a great day.